I will be forever the myth.
You're the king of kings,
There's always a pecking order. The little packers never mess with the big packers. So I'm a rooster, and he's a chicken, so to speak.
All right, let's go over to the NPC then, Jerry. So this was now the third NPC show, the third NPC Nationals. It started in '82. So they had weight classes. They had lightweight, middleweight, light heavy, and heavy. And it looks like, just looking at the numbers here, it looks like they had a bigger show than the America. 16 heavyweights, 17 light heavyweights, 16 middleweights, and 17 lightweights.
Oh.
And that was held in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the lightweight went to Paul Daniels.
Don't know him. Yeah,
Black guy, I remember him. He had a pretty good physique. Yeah, he never really. This was the highlight of his career. Looks like he took eighth in the Nationals in '83, so he went up to first.
Yeah.
And then Joe Dawson, he was another good bodybuilder. He was in second.
Yeah.
And third place was Dean Tornabene from Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
And then Jose Guzman from New York was in fourth.
Too.
And Jesse Lujan, who won the class a year ago in '83, he dropped down to fifth.
I remember Jesse. I think I might have interviewed him. Yeah.
Because you remember back in those days, in order to turn pro, you had to win the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he didn't win the universe. I think he was in second or third. So he had to come back the next year, and then he didn't win his class again. He dropped down to fifth. So that was a tough. It was tough to get a pro card back then.
No, now they give them out like candy.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody.
Now I think it's like first and second in your class. But back then, even if you won your class, it wasn't enough. You had to go to the universe. And if you did win the universe, you had to come back the next year and try and win the universe again, which very rarely happened. Usually if you lost the universe and you came back, you wouldn't even win the class at the Nationals again, you know?
A lot of people on Facebook, they list their names as Joe Smith, IFBB Pro.
Yeah.
In other words, I think in their mind they have to put IFBB Pro, otherwise you wouldn't know who they are at all.
Right.
But there's so many people that can call themselves IFBB Pros, it really doesn't mean anything anymore.
No.
I mean, years ago, if you were an IFBB Pro, like it was a little harder to get. It meant that you kind of accomplished something.
Yeah.
Like today, I'm not saying that these people are bad or not good bodybuilders, but it's a lot easier today.
Yeah.
There's so many.
There's only a handful of guys that would win.
Yeah, that's right.
Pro cards, like literally a handful for the whole year.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So the middleweight class, John Natashak was the first place. So this was John's breakout year. He was a good East Coast bodybuilder, but I don't think nobody really heard about him on the national level until he won this. I think he won Mr. Eastern America or something, right?
Yeah, I think he might have been working as a law enforcement officer.
Yeah, he was a cop, yeah.
Like John later on, after he retired, was working the NPC shows, like backstage, like directing the guys and stuff.
Yeah.
I got to know him very well. He was a very nice guy.
He's a judge now. He's a judge out here in Florida.
Yeah. Great guy. Wish him well. Really nice guy.
So he beat out John Aranita.
I knew John. John was one of Rory Ledermeyer's guys.
Yeah, he looked a lot like Rory, didn't he?
Yeah. Remember I told you the signature of Rory Ledermeyer's crew was when they turned to the side, they all had great leg bicep development.
Right.
Because Rory believed he was a strong believer in training the leg, the hamstrings a lot. I'm talking 15 to 20 sets.
Wow.
So that's alone. So all of his guys, including Bob Paris, when they turned to the side, you could always tell. I used to go to contests and I'd say, I bet you that guy works out with Rory. And it turns out I was always right. Always had great leg bicep development.
I thought John had a great physique. I'm surprised he never got a pro card, but it was tough back then.
Small waist, good physique.
Yeah, great aesthetics. I thought he just had a fantastic physique. Yeah, he was third the year before in the middleweight, so now he was second here, and then he got second again in '85. And in '87, he won the middleweight class at the USA, but back then you had to win the overall. So he still didn't get his pro. He never got his pro card.
Insane.
Yeah, it is.
Crazy.
A guy like that today would easily get his pro card.
Oh, for sure. No doubt.
And then Lindsey McKinney. Remember him, the real thick black guy from Detroit?
Vaguely remember him. Yeah, vaguely.
Really thick physique for a middleweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was second the year before, and he dropped down to third in '84.
Yeah.
And then Randall Samuels was fourth. You remember him?
That guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember him.
I think this was the highest he ever. He got second that year in the USA in the middleweights, and then he was fourth at the Nationals.
Yeah.
And fifth was Lee Labrada.
Labrada. This is one of his early day contests. Yeah, Lee.
I remember I talked to Lee. I did an interview with him, and he said this was his first Nationals. So the year before, it was this year in '84, he competed in the USA against Phil Williams.
Yeah, we lost.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a middleweight, and I think he mistimed his diet, and he was like a pound over. And so he ended up being a light heavyweight.
Yeah.
And I think Phil just beat him. I mean, it was really close.
Yeah.
So then he went to the Nationals, made the middleweight class, and took fifth. And he said that when I interviewed him, he said he went back to his hotel room after the show, and he really thought, he's like, I don't think I'm good for the sport. I don't think I can make it,
Yeah.
because he took fifth, and he's like so disappointed. He's like, he thought he was going to win for sure after taking second to Phil Williams that year, at the USA.
Yeah.
So but the next year he won. He went from fifth to first in 1 year. The next year he won the middleweight class.
I consider Lee Labrada one of the uncrowned. I call him one of the uncrowned Mr. Olympias.
Yeah.
Especially Lee Labrada, because he had actually, the story.
Mm-hmm.
He actually won the 1990 Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
In Chicago. After the prejudging, he was in. I saw the scorecard. I saw it.
Yeah.
He was in first place, and then they get at the Nitro. You remember the story? They gave it to Lee Haney because they said Lee Haney was a better poser.
Yeah.
The irony that never fails to amaze me, considering Lee Labrada has got to be one of the greatest posers in recent bodybuilding history.
Yeah.
He's just a fantastic poser.
Isn't it crazy though that he took fifth and he was thinking about that he wasn't good enough, and then he ends up being one of the best bodybuilders really in history. Really.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he got that discouraged. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Reminds me of what Vince Taylor told me when I met him in Germany before he came over to the. I think came over to the NPC possibly. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was talking to him with Julian Schmidt. We were there in Europe for some contest coverage, and I came across Vince. And in the course of the conversation, and he mentioned that he worked with who's that guy who won the trained Sean Ray? What was the name? I can't remember.
Oh, John Brown.
John Brown was a protege of John Brown.
Yeah.
Also. I remember him saying, he says, I said, well, he showed me a photo that he had, photo himself. I said, my God, Vince, you have a pro level physique. He said, what he said? He says, Jerry, I don't think I'm really good enough to be a pro. These guys are so much better than me.
Yeah.
And Julian Schmidt and I looked at each other. Is this guy crazy or what? Come on, man. He had everything. He had calves. He had everything. And the rest is history. I think he held the record for competing in the most contests.
Right. Exactly.
And he's still in great shape. And he's what? He's 60s? I don't know how old he is now. But
he's got to be close to 70.
Yeah, he's still in great shape. He still has great arms. I don't know how he does that.
Yeah. I know. I don't either.
Your arms are among the first to go, but he still looks terrific.
Yeah.
So
Paul-Jean Guillaume was sixth.
Oh yeah, the natural.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
great
a guy.
physique. Really great physique.
Oh, beautiful, very nice, tiny waist. Really nice physique.
Yeah.
The story there is that he was an ardent anti-drug guy.
Yeah.
And if anyone have accused him of taking drugs, he'd actually get mad. He'd say, well, let's go take a drug test right now.
Yeah.
This guy was ardent anti-drug. And eventually he dropped out because he felt that he didn't want to take drugs. He felt he just, the guys were getting bigger and bigger. He saw the handwriting on the wall. He said, that's it, I'm out of here. It's a
Where was
shame.
he from, Jerry? Was he Haitian?
I think so. Yeah.
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 He great physique. He did really well. I mean, he eventually turned pro, and he was competing in the Olympia.
Oh
So,
yeah, he was a pro.
yeah.
But like I say, he just refused to jump on the drug bandwagon. He thought he could do it on his own natural ability, but he just wasn't doing as well as he expected. So I guess he said,
Really amazing too when you think they didn't have any like 212 division back then. He had to go in the open, and he was only a middleweight, and he was drug free, and he made it all the way to the Olympia.
Yeah. Well, if they had a lower weight division, he would have done much better.
Oh yeah, he would have done great. Yeah.
Hard to beat. He had a complete physique, also head to toe, had everything.
Yeah.
You know?
And Mike Ashley was a middleweight, and he only got ninth.
Wow, Mike got 9. And that's the other guy who was the ardent anti-drug guy.
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah.
Yeah.
He ended up winning the Universe 2 years later.
Yeah. Yep.
And Victor Terra, who I just interviewed not too long ago, great AAU guy, he was in 10th.
And
Yeah.
wow, and this is the NPC show.
Yeah, NPC. Yeah.
How does he get 10th? I mean, the guy was always.
He told me he was off. He said he had a girlfriend and problems.
Oh, yeah, some of these
Bob Bruskin would always tell him, drop the girlfriend.
Well, it's like I say, some of these guys, unless they're in 100%, contest shape,
Yeah,
they drop all the way down.
I know. It's amazing that guy could get 10th.
Yeah, because he had a fantastic physique. I mean,
Oh yeah, super thick.
when I watched your interview, I saw the photos of him. I said, "Wow, this guy was really." I know he was a short guy, but still,
Yeah,
the thickness of the cuts this guy had was tremendous.
yeah. And Daryl Stafford, who also went on to become a great bodybuilder, he was 14 out of 16.
I interviewed him at one of the shows. Poor guy. Yeah. I think he was living in Georgia, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was from Atlanta. Yeah.
Nice guy. He passed away a couple of years ago. Dropped dead.
Was he from Florida? I thought maybe from Florida.
Maybe from Florida. I know down south somewhere. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he was from Florida.
Yeah, very quiet guy. Nice guy, though. It was very sad when I heard he passed away.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the light heavies. Now, this was another super tough class, 17 guys. So this was the one Rich Gaspari won.
Yeah.
So Rich Gaspari, to give you a little history on him, he was a good teenage bodybuilder. And then the year before, 1983, he won the Junior Nationals. He was a heavyweight, but he was only like 205, 5'8", 205. He was kind of blocky, super big legs, kind of a wider waist, and kind of narrow shoulders. But he won the light heavyweight, or he won the overall at the Junior Nationals at 20 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
And then he went to the Nationals. That was the one that Bob Paris won in San Jose. And he competed as a heavyweight at 205. And he only got fifth behind Bob Paris, Roy Liedemeier, and Matt Mendenhall, and Mike Christian.
Yeah. Well, Rich, as you probably know, was very vascular.
Yeah.
He had veins everywhere, especially when you see him in person. Sometimes the photos didn't show it, but you see him in person. Yeah, he looked like he had freeway map. Well, I mean, veins everywhere.
Yeah.
I said to him once I said, Rich, how'd you get so vascular? He says, my father's the same way.
Yeah.
He says, it's pure genetics.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything special to get the
Yeah.
I still remember him telling me that. Yeah.
So after he got fifth at the Nationals in 1983, Ed Connors from Gold's Gym offered him a job and told him he could come out to California and he could manage one of his gyms and then live in California and train for the Nationals. So he did that, and he was managing one of the Gold's Gyms, and then Lee Haney was his training partner that year.
Yeah.
That was this year in 1984.
Yeah.
So they told him, they advised him, they said, why don't you go down to light heavyweight and then try to change your proportions. Bring your leg size down and try to get your back and your shoulders wider. That way you have more of a V taper. Because before his legs were so dominating, and then he didn't have the widest shoulders either. So he kind of looked like a fire plug, And I remember Lee Haney was telling him, because when Lee Haney met him, he said he was 250.
Oh.
In the offseason, like bulked up,
What?
And Lee Haney told him, he goes, you're so fat. He goes, you're a fat boy. He goes, why are you so fat? He goes, you're not going to, you got to lose the weight. So that's when Rich changed his attitude. He started coming down in weight, and it was the right advice because he ended up winning the light heavyweight class, and then he got a chance to go over to the Mr. Universe, and then he won the Mr. Universe, and he got his pro card.
Ironically, he was considered one of the more muscular, ripped bodybuilders.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing, where he went from fat boy to one of the most.
And I think he was only like 186 or something. He was really light,
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing about this, Jerry. I don't know if you ever heard this. He didn't get one first place vote.
Wow, not one. Jeez.
I'll talk about the other guys who were in the top 5, but they split all the first place votes. He got all seconds. But when you added it all up, the scores were varied so much, he ended up winning.
Interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that weird? He didn't get one first place vote. He had one anyway.
And he won.
Weird, man.
So Moses Maldonado from New York was second. So Moses won this class in 82, but he didn't win the universe, so he had to come back. So this was his third time at the Nationals trying to get to his pro card.
Was he
great physique?
Wasn't he related to Johnny Maldonado or no?
Yeah, he was his nephew.
Okay, yeah. The great Johnny.
And then Tom Terwilliger was in third.
Great guy, yeah.
And JJ Marsh was in fourth.
JJ, yeah. Very self-confident guy, JJ.
Yeah. So I think those 3 guys, Moses, Tom, and JJ, got all the first place votes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then, but very competitive class. That was probably one of the most competitive. John Kemper was 6th. Casey Kucharik was 7th. Jerry Scalisi was 8th.
Gee, those are good bodybuilders too.
Yeah. And Mike Torcha, remember Mike Torcha? He was 12th.
Mike very well. Yeah.
You remember Frank Pantoja, who won the Teenage America?
I do.
He got 16th.
Holy Toledo. Was he just out of shape, or what was the deal?
I don't know. He was past his prime. He wasn't a teenager anymore.
Yeah, jeez.
He wasn't that big, though. Remember, he had kind of a Frank Zane kind of physique. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's go to the heavyweight class. This was the most popular class of the contest. So there was a real battle between Mike Christian and Matt Mendenhall. So the year before in 83, Mike had gotten third. Matt was second to Lee Haney in 82, and then he dropped down to fourth in 83 because he had the flu, I think, beforehand. He wasn't at his best.
Yeah.
So this year, Matt came in huge. I remember he had an incredible physique. And Mike was big too, but I think Mike was just more ripped, and that's why Mike beat him.
Right. Yeah, the problem with Matt was, that Lee Haney called him, the famous statement that Lee Haney called Matt Mendenhall the most genetically gifted bodybuilder he'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Matt is the quintessence of top to, head to toe body. He had everything.
Yeah.
I wasn't really impressed with his double arm shot. I don't think his arms to me were that great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his bicep wasn't,
Yeah, hanging like in a side tricep, it looked great. But when he did flex like this,
I agree.
Have a big peak on his arm, But he had this gigantic sweep on his thighs, gigantic calves, huge forearms. I remember asking him about that. I said, Matt, how did you get those forearms? They're gigantic.
Yeah.
He said, because I never did a single direct forearm exercise, just from working. But I mean, he's a guy who really, I think, could have done a lot better if he. Think about this. I always pictured, what if Matt got shredded?
Yeah.
He was never shredded. Think about it.
No.
I'm not saying he wasn't in shape for his contest, but he was never. If he was shredded, he would have he could have been Mr. Olympia several times.
Yeah.
He had everything. I mean, he had everything,
Do you think a guy like that should have gotten his pro card? I mean, it seemed like he would always get beat by guys who were more ripped than him, but they didn't have as good of a physique as he did. Like even Mike Christian, as good of a bodybuilder as Mike was, Mike didn't have the calves that Matt did. He didn't have the beautiful shape that Matt had,
Yeah. Well, it depends on what you're judging on. I mean, a lot of people or judges, they're impressed by a hard conditioning.
Yeah.
They'll look at a guy like Mike Christian, who's ripped, whereas let's say Matt has a more aesthetic, better looking physique, better balance, but is a little softer. And they'll say that, well, Mike wins because he's got better conditioning. See, myself, honestly, a guy like Matt, with everything he had, in all due respect to Mike Christian, I would have given the contest to Matt Mendenhall, because unless Matt was completely off, to me, he was almost unbeatable.
I agree.
Even without being ripped, because, I mean, anyone just has to look at pictures. Look at him standing relaxed.
Yeah.
Geez, what a physique, a wide shoulder, big delt. I mean, he looked, geez, I once said to him, Matt, I said, I'm glad that I stopped competing before you were. I said, if I ever showed up in a contest and you were there, I'd leave immediately by the left stage door. I wouldn't even dare to stand next to you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jerry. I think the guy had just such a beautiful. I know when you're judging, you got to look at. I mean, you look at all the things. You look at size, you look at shape, proportion, the structure, and you look, of course, at definition. But it's really a judging conundrum when you got a guy that's so perfectly proportioned with such great shape and size, and then you got a guy who's not as perfect, but he's more ripped. So it's like you're judging the definition over all the other things that this guy has.
I'll give you a good example of one of the great bodybuilders of all time, a 4-time Mr. Universe, Bill Pearl.
Yeah.
Think about it. Bill Pearl was never really ripped except in his abs. He had pretty good abs. He was an abdominal training fanatic.
Yeah.
He started his workout by doing 9 to 10 ab exercises, 100 reps each.
Wow.
That was his warm-up before he actually worked out.
Wow.
And so he had great, but if you look at him, I don't recall any picture of Bill Pearl, maybe you can, where his legs were really ripped.
No.
It's kind of smooth. And a lot of photos, for some reason, Bill didn't flex his legs, which I don't understand.
Yeah.
You see, he wasn't flexing his legs, but Bill Pearl was never really ripped, but he had a great looking shape.
Yeah.
Everything came together really well. His legs were in balance with his upper body, had good arms, but he was never really ripped, but everything was in perfect balance. So that's why he did well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He beat guys that were much more muscular looking than him because they didn't have his balance of his proportion and symmetry. So he's a good example of that. And I think Matt was in the same category. To me, Matt to me had an even better looking body than Bill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's funny, too, when people talk about Bill Pearl, they say, he wasn't ripped, but I wish I could have looked like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because, I mean, there was just something about him. I mean, he had everything looked good.
Full round muscle bellies, big, thick.
He had a nice double arm bicep shot, looked great. And he had glats and stuff. But, if you really analyze it objectively, he was never ripped. I mean, I saw photos. I mean, as he got older, strange enough, he got a little more muscular. But if you look at photos when he was in the AU, like when he won the Mr. America in 53, won the Universe, he had no muscle definition at all.
Right.
All he did is he had symmetry, and that's it, and proportion. No cuts anywhere. No cuts anywhere.
Yeah.
But that was enough to let him win the Mr. America and Mr. Universe.
Yeah. I can almost see Mike Christian beating Mendenhall at this one because he was so ripped, real vascular. Yeah. But when Matt lost to Gary Stridham 2 years later, I thought he's definitely, I know Stridham was more ripped. He had the striated glutes. But when you look at, like, Stridham didn't have the back. He really didn't have the arms. And I was like, man, that's kind of like an inferior physique at the time. Yeah. And I thought Matt should have beat him that one.
I don't see, I mean, when you're missing like one of the largest muscle groups in the body, the back.
Yeah.
Even if you're ripped from the front, like I always say, Gary Stridham, from the front, he was almost unbeatable.
Yeah.
His most muscular was just shocking, ripped. I mean,
right.
But when he turned to the back, it's like you look at him and say, does this guy train his back?
Yeah.
It was like nothing there.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have any lat. There was nothing there.
Right.
So, I mean, anything Gary won was on the strength of his front, what he won. But that's why Gary could never win. He'd never win the Mr. Olympia.
No.
I mean, I know he said publicly he felt that he could have. I have to maybe if Gary had really brought up his back, I would agree.
Yeah.
He had good legs, had big calf, but he never did.
Yeah.
So he could never have won the Mr. Olympia with that back. No way.
And when he won the Nationals in '86, he was like 229. He wasn't nearly as big as he would become later on. Yeah.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
A lot smaller.
Yeah.
Third place in this class was Jeffrey Williams, who we talked about him last year when we did our wrap up for the year. Real big guy. I really liked his physique. Yeah. And if you remember when it was in San Jose, I think I told the story last year when he thought he was going to win, and after the prejudging, he realized that it was going to be between Bob Paris and Rory Liedlmeyer, so he didn't even show up for the night show.
I was at that contest. Yeah.
Yeah. So he came back the next year, but still wasn't good enough to win. He was behind Mendenhall and Christian, but still third place in a really tough class. So he was great, obviously a great bodybuilder. But I think he quit after this. I never saw him after this.
Yeah. Probably discouraged.
And then a guy named Jeff Sneed, who I believe was from Oklahoma. He was a top national competitor. He was in fourth.
Yeah.
He was kind of good, kind of straight up and down upper body, though, I think.
I vaguely remember him, yeah.
Good abs, good legs, but not much of a back.
Right.
But Rory Liedlmeyer was fifth after placing so close to the top last year to Paris. He dropped down to fifth.
Now you wonder how is that possible?
I remember he came in much lighter.
Okay. Yeah,
he shaved his mustache, and he looked like he was way underweight. He didn't look like the same Rory Liedlmeyer.
There you go. There's the answer right there.
Yeah.
That's too much muscle mass. Yeah.
He was kind of strange. He would go up and down. You never knew which Rory Liedlmeyer was going to show up, right? Like sometimes he'd be smooth and big. Sometimes he'd be ripped and smaller.
I used to see Rory in the gym where he looked like he weighed 270.
Yeah, I know. He was so big in the off season.
Huge. But the funny thing is he still had a small waist.
Yeah.
His waist never got sloppy. I mean, he was smooth. But
yeah.
He never really got fat, but he's very big off season. Jeez, was he big?
He looked like he really experimented with pre-contest stuff because he was very inconsistent.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So obviously the winner of that Nationals that year was Mike Christian. Yeah. And I don't think anybody would have foresaw that Rich Gaspari was going to be as good as he was. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody saw that he was going to be a great pro because it looked like Mike Christian was the guy that was going to challenge Lee Haney in the pros,
So the guys who won the class in that show could turn pro, right? Is that how it works?
Well, they had to go to the universe, and they had to win the universe.
Oh, the universe, okay.
So if they didn't win the universe, they weren't pro.
Oh, I got it. Okay. And the universe was in Vegas, wasn't it?
Yeah, in Caesar's Palace.
I was at that one, too.
You were at that one, okay. Yeah, that was one of the few times that the universe was held in the United States, right?
Yeah.
I believe that was the 25th anniversary because it started in the IFBB universe started in '59, so I think that was they called it the Jubilee year, the 25th anniversary. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Brightest spots in the world, ESPN presents the 25th Mr. Universe competition. Julius Caesar welcomes bodybuilders from all over the world to Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas to compete for the title of Mr. Universe. Hi everybody, I'm Irv Brown. I'll be handling the play-by-play and welcome to Las Vegas. I'll be working with Chris Dickerson, the man who has won this contest. In fact, Chris, you've won every contest but one, Mr. Teenage America. What's the story there?
I started a little bit too late, Irv. I was beyond being a teenager.
I kind of like that. This is an interesting contest. We've seen a lot of Olympic power weightlifting on ESPN, straight powerlifting, but this is bodybuilding. You might explain.
Bodybuilding is different from the weightlifting and the powerlifting in that the athlete is judged on his body, on his muscular development. In other words, you're judged on the result of what you do, of having lifted the weights. And the judges look for symmetry, proportion, muscularity, these things. So it's the sport that gets a lot of attention these days, I'm proud to say. And we've been doing it for years and years and years, though.
Boy, this is really something, Chris, as they parade in the Parade of Nations. Close to 150 competitors from 66 nations. The crowd just eating this up.
Sort of reminds you of the Olympic Games in Los Angeles, doesn't it?
You know what's interesting? All of the competitors had to go get the oil on, and then they will have to lay out for a while depending on when they're scheduled to compete. But this is quite a sight. Very impressive.
I find it mind-blowing, the fact that bodybuilding is so popular. You know, it's a #1 sport in the world because it's individual. You don't have to belong to a team. It's up to you and the weights. So a country, no matter how poor, he'll find some weights to train with, and he'll build his physique, represent that country, and end up in the Mr. Universe like we're seeing today.
What's interesting, we'll talk a little later on about how one fella defected so he could compete because the Iron Country nations, they're not involved, and yet I got to believe they're doing it in their basement. They're getting ready. So.
You can be sure, they imitate the United States not only in music but in the muscles, and that's why you see the likes of this man who represents Finland, by the way, Irv. Though he's from Russia, he defected. An interesting story there. They regard it sort of as American or Western decadence. I'm sorry to say, a bit too narcissistic for them so far. But of course, we don't see it that way. It's a matter of pride.
This is the Parade of Nations. This is the Mr. Universe contest with Caesar's Palace. The crowd appreciates the athletes very, very much. It's interesting just exactly what goes on. There's a look at Jim Manning in the United States. He's been very, very involved with bodybuilding. He's done a tremendous job for the sports.
It's Mike Christian there, his impressive back.
Out of shack. We'll see him a little later on. All right, so we kick it off. We'll be back with more of the action from Caesar's Palace right after this on ESPN. Stick with us.
So let's talk about that contest, Jerry. Again, four weight classes: lightweight, middleweight, light, heavy, and heavy. Yeah. And lightweight was won by Wilfred Sylvester, who was an older bodybuilder from England.
All right, Chris had an opportunity to talk to one of the older bodybuilders.
Wilfred Sylvester, representing Great Britain again.
Yes.
You have survived the prejudging, and you are in the finalists. Among the 15 finalists, how do you feel?
I feel great. I come over here to win and to try and see if I could turn pro again, because that's my great comeback. And I finally decided that if I make it, I'll turn pro and I'll spend another 6 years in the game.
You just love bodybuilding?
Yes, I love it.
Wilfred, you're 41?
Yeah, nearly 41. Be 41 next birthday. Yes.
You have won this title before. And you're after it for a second time.
That's right. I want to be the first one from Britain to win it twice.
Wilfred, do you have any weakness in your physique? Anything you want to improve on?
Really, I don't really think I have any weakness. My weakness really is getting bigger.
Why do you want to get bigger?
I think if I have to go in the professional contests, I believe I have to be bigger to do well in the professional.
You want to be a bigger little man, is that it?
That's right. That's right.
Well, Chris, this is one of our favorite guys because he strikes a blow for old age, and we're both old. Hey, but two different governing bodies, and that's why he was able to win the title.
Absolutely. The NABA, the National Association of British Bodybuilders, sponsored the Mr. Universe that we heard about for years and years. The IFBB, the current Mr. Universe, has dominated now. It's a strong governing body for the competition.
Watched him earlier today. By far, I thought he was the most muscular among the lightweights.
Look at the serratus development there.
And isn't that what you call the finger?
You're right. We nickname it the finger. They're the fingers. A lot of people have never seen that muscle on them or anybody else.
This is Wilf Sylvester, the third competitor that we're showing you in the lightweight competition. Once again, up to 154 pounds. And those are the biggest 154-pounders I've seen in my life. I've watched a lot of wrestling, and it's just amazing what you can do with diet and the weights.
No ice cream, folks.
One of the dirtiest things that you could do is to have competition right after Christmas or Thanksgiving. That would be a low blow.
Horrible. Oh, yes. That's the one time of the year we hate to think about dieting. If you find bodybuilders not in shape, it's then. Look at this thigh bicep development and the lower back, trapezius development, all of it.
And he knows how to pose.
Yeah.
He's older. He does know how to pose.
We were discussing mature muscles, and this is a fine example of just that. Years and years of it.
This is Wilf Sylvester, and he handles himself well. He was delightful. I had a chance to talk to him at the weigh-in, and
wonderful attitude, doesn't he?
He does. He's got a great attitude. Well, look at that smile. He's been here before. Once again, he's older. He'll be 41 years of age. It's very, very important. Crowd reacts.
Abbey Universe winner, if I remember.
Yeah. But he was kind of making a comeback because he competed back in the early 70s, right?
Goes way back, yeah.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
Because I think he was in his 40s when he did this show, but he looked great. He looked fantastic.
Yeah.
And Hermann Hoffen from Germany was in second. He was shredded, I remember. And Esmat Sadiq from Egypt was in third.
I vaguely remember these guys, yeah.
So the guy from America didn't even make top 6.
Of these championships, from Egypt, Esmat Sadek. And here are
Sadek,
Lucille Porter, President Ben Weider, and Joe Weider to present the trophy and the medal.
The Weeders do a lot for this sport, don't they?
Oh, they do a tremendous job. They're great promoters.
Assisted by Director Andy Olson.
Mr. Sadat has been around a while himself. He's represented Egypt often.
In second place, winning the silver medal. From Germany, Hermann Hoffen.
Well, that's a very happy man. Will Sylvester is the champ because Hermann Hoffen from Germany, a very complete bodybuilder, except possibly the back.
This is great sportsmanship, being so near to be the number one and smiling if you get the number 2. And here's our champion and our world lightweight bodybuilding champion, Mr. Universe from England, Wilf Sylvester.
Wilf Sylvester strikes a blow for old age, I guess, Chris.
Oh, that's for sure.
You talked to him earlier. He'll be 41 years of age, and he's a happy guy. Second time he's won it.
Yep. This Mr. Universe contest is the top amateur title you can win, and there he goes with it.
So he is the winner. Sylvester from England. Hoffert from Germany finished second. Sadet from Egypt was third. Neoli from Canada, fourth.
The 6 best lightweight athletes.
There they are, the 6 best.
In 1984, here on stage at Caesar's Palace.
How's your score sheet, Irv? Are you pretty much in line with the judges?
I had Sylvester going against Hoffman. I really felt that, first of all, I just felt that Sylvester was the most muscular, with the exception of the calves.
Yeah.
Can he do it again? Can he compete against the middleweights?
Well, you know, talking to him earlier, he has that in mind. He wants to be bigger. I'm not sure if that wouldn't be a mistake, though, because rather than go up, sometimes it's a good idea to drop down a few pounds, and then you're sharper. But perhaps he can do it.
That would be something. We've had people drop down in competition, but to go up, I just don't know if it would be natural and complete everything.
Yeah, you sort of fooling around with nature a little bit too much sometimes. You go so far with it. I always say be the best of what you are. Be the best little man you can be. Don't try to be big, then you won't make it.
We'll try and grab Wilf as he comes off the stage. This is nice sportsmanship, and we've heard our PA announcer, Albert Busick, point that out, and it's very, very true. You might be dying inside, but you've got to be gracious.
As always, next year.
The 6 best lightweights.
Well, doesn't that say it all? And can you believe lightweights? I mean, that right arm is not the right arm of a lightweight. Will Sylvester from England, been around a long time, got a lot of miles, and it pays off big tonight. He is Mr. Universe. We're at Caesar's Palace, and we wind this thing down. Once again, we want to talk to Wilf as he leaves the stage. Well, you want to stick with us. This is only the lightweights. We've got 3 more divisions coming up. The middleweights, the light heavyweights, and the big guys, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, the Chris Dickersons, the heavyweight class. So, the lightweight champion has been crowned. Chris, if you can grab him, we want to talk to Wilf Sylvester right now, if we can.
Wilfred Sylvester, the winner of the class. Please, put your trophy down, Wilfred, and we'll talk one more time. I must admit, I try to be impartial to who the winner will be, but I'm so happy to see you win because you prove it's not necessarily a younger man's game. And I can empathize with that. We're both about 45. You're in your 45th year, and you're the best lightweight man in the world. It's hard to say, how does it feel? You probably can't say. How does it feel?
Great. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Are you going to go home and eat now, or what?
Not really, because I think I have some shows on, and I am going to eat a little, but I am not going to overdo it, because when I get back to London, I want to be still in good shape.
Well, a man in his 40s, it just goes to prove that you're in your prime. You've got 10, 15, who knows how long to compete. Wilfred, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Thank you very, very much.
Well, Chris aged him a little bit. He's only 41, but he's not going to eat. All right, so we have our lightweight champ.
Middleweight class, John Natashak did win, so he obviously turned pro.
Yeah.
So what a great year he had.
All right, I'll tell you, we talked to Wilf Sylvester earlier. He's been doing it a long time. How about a guy who's only been doing it 2 years? Listen to this one.
So Mr. New Jersey, Mr. East Coast, Eastern America, Mr. America, and now Universe.
Mr. Universe.
You don't want much, do you, John?
I want it all.
You want it all.
That's right.
Well, I think that's fantastic. How did you train for this? I mean, so much is happening so fast. What do you attribute all of this success to?
I learned how to listen to my body. I learned how to train properly, slowly, intensely, and I put my mind into the muscle. I really concentrate now.
How long have you been really serious about bodybuilding?
About 2 years. Super serious.
Only 2 years?
Yeah. I've been fooling around with weights for about 5 years, but the last 2 years I really get down to it. I love it. It's great.
It's a wonderful sport, isn't it?
Right.
Wow. Well, that's mind-blowing. Really is what you've done in such a short period of time, John. Good luck today.
Thank you, Chris.
I don't think you're going to need it, though, somehow.
I need all the luck I can get. I could use it. Thank you.
I don't think I'd like to be a robber in New Jersey and have Natashak chase me. I watched him today. Chris, he is so far superior, in my opinion, except for the pecs. His pecs are flat. Now, isn't that just maturity?
Yeah, in about a year, 2 years, he'll have it. It just takes longer. He's very, very, very complete. This man does not weigh a lot. But look, he gets so much mileage out of his body.
Good choice of music, Body Shop.
Why not?
John Natashak.
Good posing style, variety of motions. Judges like that. A kneeling, standing side shot. Mixing it up. He's mixing the routine up. Twisting back pose. Hard on the legs all the time. Controlling the abdominal area.
As he mentioned that he's only been lifting for 2 years. A man can do that to his body, or this mainly heredity?
Remember we talking about picking the right parents?
Natashak did, huh?
That's what he did. Started off right.
That's an amazing pose right there. You do not see a weakness there at all. The only front pose, you see the pecs. They're flat, but other than that, this guy he's so far ahead of the rest of the field, in my opinion.
Very sharp. Muscular pose. Flexing the legs, hard, everything.
He's competing against Noller from Germany, Abrub from Egypt, Lode from Belgium, Lansfield from Australia. One other one in the finals that we'll pick up. Natashak, the crowd likes him. Says, I'll go off the other side.
That is work. He's exhausted. It's got to be.
Graham Lansfield from Australia was second. Erwin Noller from Germany was third. I remember Erwin trained with Samir back in '83 when Samir, I guess Samir went to Germany early before the Olympia because it was held in Munich that year. I remember he was training with Erwin back then. And El Shahat Mabrok from Egypt was 4th.
I remember him too.
Yeah. Kind of a thicker bodybuilder.
That's right.
From Belgium, Erwin Note.
Well, Note was second a year ago.
Yes, he's dropped down, or if he's just lacking in size and density.
All right, let's see what we've got next.
In 5th place and also receiving the trophy, the Silver Jubilee Trophy, from Japan, Yasushi Koyama.
I knew this was going to happen, Chris, because they could not see the legs versus the upper body just because of the way the seats are set here.
It's true, they're looking up, the audience is, but the judges are right on here.
He's got a great upper body, he's got bad thighs. All right, we're looking for 4.
In 4th place, from Egypt, El Saad Mabrok.
Boy, this reminds me when I officiated basketball. Lots of booze.
Lots of booze. Everyone's unhappy. I would have had him maybe 3rd, but no more than 3rd.
Got exceptional pecs and delts. I did not like the way he posed with the back.
In 3rd place, receiving the trophy as well as the bronze medal of these championships, from Germany, Erwin Knoller.
Well, he didn't like that particularly. He was 30 a year ago in the middleweight class.
Repeat performance. Well, at least he didn't drop down. Come back next year.
He's got a little loose skin in the abdomen. I really believe that probably hurt him.
Lower back is very weak. If he's notice when he turns around. Whoops, they won't show.
In 2nd place, winning the silver medal, from Australia, Graham Lansfield.
Well, that's interesting.
What a dramatic finish.
Lansfield was 7th as a light heavyweight, Chris. He drops down to the middleweight class, and he ends up 2nd. There's our champ, though.
Yep.
We'll listen to these.
The medal is awarded through Joe Weider. And here's our middleweight bodybuilding champion, Mr. Universe 1984, John Natishak, USA.
This is when you pinch yourself to say, is it true? Did it happen?
Is it true, particularly after only really working at it for 2 years and now to receive the ultimate?
Incredible performance. What a year. 84 has been kind to John.
Look at the close-up of the abdomen right there.
That's the contest. That's it.
John Natashek was so far superior, except, as we pointed out a few times, the pecs, and that will come with maturity. Chris, the old adage that fat turns to muscle, that's not necessarily true, is it?
No, you don't hear that anymore. They are different tissues, they never meet. We've had a lot of myths to overcome, bodybuilders, and finally we're doing it with more coverage like this and more understanding of the sport.
This is the moment for John Natashek. This is the culmination. 2 years of hard work. He is the winner. He is number 1. Graham Lansfield from Australia finishes 2nd. Irving Knoller from Germany, disappointed, but he finished 3rd.
6 middleweights in the world.
What a moment.
1984.
4th spot goes to Shahat Mabrok from Egypt. Miami finished 5th. He's from Japan. And the 6th spot to Note from Belgium.
You know, it's interesting, Irv. John was telling me how he dieted. You know, he ate a lot of carbohydrates. He didn't do it with protein.
It's good for the brain, too, and carbohydrates.
Absolutely. A high carbohydrate diet.
Chris, let me ask you your thoughts on moving down. And we had Lansfield move down from a light heavy to the middleweight. And it paid off this time.
Right. I would do that. I would drop down in weight unless I was sure I could carry that added muscle and be cut. But be cut, be defined, be hard. Look at this man. He's the winner. That's what he did.
So one final look. There's a very happy guy from New Jersey, a police officer. Ben Weider, Joe Weider. A couple of guys who were very, very important. Here's a look at Joe. Very important to the sport of bodybuilding.
I'm really impressed also with the sportsmanship. You don't get animosity. If people are disappointed, only one man's really, really happy, and that's the winner. But everybody's there smiling, happy with what they did, seemingly anyway.
We want to talk to John as he leaves the stage, and I'll ask you to grab him, Chris. We get a few extra poses, flexes, what the novices always call them, flex your muscles. And there he is.
muscle, right?
Picks up his hardware, and Chris, if you'll jump up as he's heading off, we'll talk to John Hansen.
Mr. Universe, has it dawned on you yet?
No.
You're Mr. Universe, John.
Last week it still hasn't hit me.
You're Mr. Universe.
I can't believe it.
Congratulations,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Universe.
I can't believe it.
Keep repeating it.
Oh, man, I'm going to repeat it for the next, till the day I die.
Great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, some of those foreign guys, like from Egypt and Japan and Europe, they would compete over and over again at the IFBB or Universe.
Yeah, there was one guy, I can't remember his name offhand. He competed like 6 years in a row before he finally won something. I can't remember his name offhand.
Was it Anulu? Anulu?
Yeah, that's it. Anulu.
Yeah, that guy competed forever.
Yeah, he kept coming back year after year. But I think he finally won his. Did he win the overall? I don't know. Was it the NAB Universe? I don't remember which kind. He finally won something, either his class or the overall.
Yeah.
Like 6 years in a row.
Right.
And the American counterpart was, of course, Harry Johnson, who won the 59 America, who started competing around 52.
Yeah.
And kept coming back each year until he finally won in 59.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the light heavyweights. Now, this was really interesting because Rich Kaspari was the light heavyweight winner from the Nationals.
Yeah.
And he was going up against Joseph Romulus, who was this huge bodybuilder from Germany. Remember him?
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah.
And now we've got Joseph Romulus from Germany. Germany has been in the finals.
He's very dramatic. Got his own style.
He's got some mass, too.
Yep. Brought his muscles with him.
Look at that back.
Back lat spread again.
What about metabolic rate? A lot of
The
people
higher
very
the
concerned.
better. A person with fast metabolism had the decided advantage because he means fat doesn't have a chance to sit on him, or her in this case, because women are bodybuilding as well as men to just the greatest extent that we are. But the one with the fast metabolism has a decided advantage, no question.
This guy's going to be tough to beat.
Yep.
I like this guy very much. Joseph Romulus from Germany.
Calves a little bit weak because here again he's so impressive in the upper body. Better balance than the other man though.
All right. Our third competitor that we've seen so far. Bullock from Canada. I'm from Finland.
Now here's our feisty young American here from New Jersey again.
And he's playing to the crowd right away.
He has it and he knows it.
Rich Kaspari, United States, has got a good routine going. You know, he's young, Chris. He's only 19.
19, isn't that sick? 19? Imagine him at 25.
He's got that smile. He's got that charisma.
Very animated. He's sure of himself. He has an assuredness about him. He goes into the launch pose very easily. Without looking down, if you notice. He did not look down on the floor. He knew where his footing would be. He just did it. Very hard.
What I've seen thus far, the first four, like Kaspari and Romulus, the last guy was
tough, very tough. Calf, thighs, upper body.
Do you have to really be competitive to be a bodybuilder?
Yes, you do. It's really against yourself. You compete against yourself. You compete with others on stage, but it's really against yourself, your own progress.
For the layman looking in that wants to keep that middle down, what about isometric in the stomach? I've heard you stop at a stoplight, you pull it in until it turns.
Oh, you were telling me about that. A friend of yours does that? Yeah, that's good. It's a reminder. Anytime you flex something or contract it, you're increasing that muscularity and you're burning fat, really. You're burning calories. It's true.
All right. So he'll be coming off. We'll get a chance to visit with Rich. Rich Kaspari from New Jersey. Here he is.
Rich, did your routine go the way you hoped it would?
Yeah, I did pretty good. I remembered everything. I may have just done a little bit of a flow, but I don't think they noticed.
Yeah. Did you get a cramp up there?
No, not really. No.
You look very good. You're definitely in the runner's circle.
Okay.
See what happens later, Rich.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
So from what I heard, after the so I guess Rich gained like a couple pounds from the Nationals. I think he was like 187, 188, and then I think he went up to like 192 for the universe. So he was a little, because I think this was like a week or two later. So he got a little bit fuller, so he had a better physique. But he was losing to Joseph all the way up until the pose down.
Wow.
So they judged every round, relaxed round, mandatory poses, posing round, and then they went into the pose down. He was trailing Joseph. And I remember, if I watched this on TV, because it was on ESPN, and Rich was jumping all over. They had these risers on stage, and he was jumping up here and coming down. I mean, he was crazy. And he won the pose down. He just won by like 1 or 2 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just barely won by the hair,
In Las Vegas, this is a Mr. Universe contest. We're at Caesar's Palace. Herb Brown and Chris Dickerson. Chris has won this contest before himself. And we're getting ready for the comparison. 6 people left. We did not show you from England, Ian Dow. He finished third a year ago, so he'll be involved. There's a look at Ian. Kiko Ryman finished second. Ulf Larsson was fourth. The winner last year in this competition, Chris, was Chuck Williams from the United States.
Yes, very impressive Chuck. Another New Jersey man.
Is it something in the water that makes people so big?
Is it the Hudson River?
Light heavyweight competition. Once again, this is the comparison. Compulsories.
See the backs, gentlemen? A lot of the contest is just standing. Before you flex, simply standing. That's when you can't hide weak points or flaws. And that's what the judges want to look at, too.
Chris, yesterday we watched the pre-judging, and you would see as many as 30 and 40 competitors in each division, and they get down to the finals.
Yep. You've got that many people who have to walk away home with nothing at all, and they've worked just as hard. It can be a heartbreaking sport, but that's the name of the game.
The gray area in these contests, as in a lot of contests, is steroids. Your thoughts? Do we have some of the competitors
I think,
using them?
Irv, I think the steroid question gets a lot of kill. It's an overkill, I should say. Gets too much credit, gets too much blame. These 6 men you're looking at, it would still be down to these 6 if nobody took steroid or if everybody took them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They really don't make or break the competitor. There's a lot of controversy surrounding it. Some experiment with it, but many take none at all. So you sort of have it or you don't.
All right, once again, this is where there's a little upstaging.
Here we go, vying for position. Who wants to get in the middle this time?
There's Ian Dow from England.
Yeah. Follows suit.
Larsson.
He started something. Look at all of them.
Okay, I'll take the second round.
This is the fun part. The audience just loves this.
And they reacted a little bit.
It's funny. This is the closest thing we get to combat in bodybuilding, if you can call it that.
Hey, has there ever been a fist fight up there?
Close to it. You get a lot of shoveling going on, pushing and shoveling for first place. Here we go. There's Richard in the middle there.
This is the pose down. The United States representative, Rich Gaspari. Right there.
Showing the thigh cuts, showing the abdominals, showing the bicep, all of it.
I still think it's got to be between Gromulus from Germany, Rich Gaspari.
You have a good eye, Irv, for a guy who's new at this sport. You know what to look for.
Well, once again, the people have been so helpful to try and point out what is going on. Wayne DeMilia went through I thought, a very, very effective portion on the judges, so it really does help. Well, who's going to win it? We're going to find out just like you are. Stick with us. The winner of the light heavyweight class right after this message. Tell you, Chris, 3 of the top 5 from a year ago are back, and they're in the finals. Ryman, Dow, and Larsson. Chuck Williams was a winner. Let's see what it's going to be.
In 6th place, receiving the Silver Jubilee Trophy from England, Ian Dow.
Ian Dow from England, who has a nice upper body but no calves.
Yes, I agree, Irv. That's about his placing. The judges are pretty much on, I'd say. Sometimes you violently disagree with them, but I have to go along so far.
All right, let's pick up the fifth one right now.
In fifth place, from Canada, Mark Baldock.
Not too surprising to me. Really not balanced versus the rest of the competitors. Once again, the calves hurt him.
Yep, the legs hurt him.
The awards are again presented through Jeff Silver. And in fourth place, from Sweden, Ulf Larsson.
Ulf is kind of stuck on the number 4. He finished there last year.
Yes, he almost made the inner circle of that top 3, but next year maybe.
All right, we're looking for number 3.
In third place, from Finland, K.O. Ryman.
He's happy.
No, he dropped down. He was third a year ago. So Ryman, we've heard it pronounced K.O. or Kiko, either one, and he finishes third. All right, who's it going to be?
And here they are together, the last two. Who made it? In second place, winning the silver medal, from Germany, Josef Grolmus.
That tells it.
Well, you could flip a coin on that one. They were very, very close.
Very close.
There's a very happy youngster, 19 years of age. Oh, what a future.
What a future indeed.
So Gromulus from Germany, who looks very, very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Josef Grolmus is smiling for his second place. Give him a hand.
Good sportsmanship. There can only be one winner.
And here is our world light heavyweight bodybuilding champion, Mr. Universe 1984, from USA, Rich Gaspari.
I've just been informed that Rich Gaspari just pulled this out the last few seconds in the pose down because he was second going into this final round.
Chris, it's interesting, you know, we are in the United States, but there's only one American judge. Upwards to 60 countries are represented. So it is not like being on the home board, say, in basketball. The United States has won 2 of the first 3, and there's a very, very happy guy. Rich Gaspari, 19 years of age, New Jersey. He is the winner of the light heavyweight class. We got a lot more coming up, and of course the big guys, what everybody is looking to and looking for, the heavyweights.
That's allowed him to turn pro, right?
Yeah, so then he was able to turn pro, and then next year he went into Night of the Champions weighing 212 and took second to Albert Beckles, and he looked amazing.
Yeah.
So Joseph ended up winning the next year in '85 when he beat Phil Williams, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think Phil told the story that because Joseph lost this one and he kind of should have won, like he just lost at the last minute, the European judges put him in first, because they thought he deserved it,
That could be, yeah.
Kijo Ryman from Finland was in third, and I think he took second the year before.
I think I remember that.
And Ulf Larsson from Sweden was in fourth.
That was he was a good friend of Samir's also.
Yeah. So the heavyweight was another great class. You had Barry DeMay and Mike Christian going at it, and they were very, very close.
I remember Barry in that show. I remember that. Yeah.
So Barry was second the year before to Bob Paris.
Right.
And he was actually more ripped than Bob Paris. A lot of people thought Barry should have won. So he came in this one, and I think, he thought he was going to win, and then he lost again to another American.
Barry beat Matt Mendenhall something called the World Games. Do you remember that?
Next year, yeah, in '85, yeah.
Yeah. Barry was really a good bodybuilder. We see his shape was really good.
Yeah, great bodybuilder, great legs, great overall shape and symmetry.
Another guy's still in great shape. He's still lives back in the Netherlands. I think he's a trainer.
Yeah.
Great. He looks terrific.
Looks awesome, yeah. And he was only 22 years old here.
Yeah.
Up next is last year's runner-up, Barry DeMay from Holland. Chris asked him if he's better prepared for the competition this year.
I wasn't confident because I knew I made some mistakes. But I learned from that. So that's why I'm better this year, because I saved some weight. I'm more than 10 pounds heavier now. And most of the guys, when they get heavier, they're not hard and lean, but I'm as lean as last year and 10 pounds heavier. So I learned from last year. Bodybuilding is it's in the first place a real sport, but on the other hand, it has to do with show. So the people they can see on your face everything, how you act, how you feel. So, and I think that makes a big difference when you are there on stage and you know I'm good.
You know, last year, Chris, DeMay had superior definition going against Bob Paris. He took the first round by 7, placing to 8 for Paris. But Paris went into the lead as we get a look at the tattoo I want to talk to you about. And, you know, Paris went into the lead, and DeMay really was nervous. I thought you made a great point talking to him. I want to ask you about the tattoo. Does that hurt you?
It does. His is sort of not a major one. Doesn't really detract. But tattoos, if you don't have one, don't get one. If you want to compete in bodybuilding, they can't hurt.
I like his music, Rocky.
Yeah. He's with it.
He is tremendous. Look at the body on him. But I tell you, Chris, one thing I think hurts him is the lower back. I'm not sure that somebody's taught him how to pose, because he's going to get all he wants from Christian, who does know how to pose and accentuate that lower back.
Christian has a lot of charisma, a lot of animal magnetism. He's just winning through the crowd. His lower back, you're right about that, could be harder. A little bit of excess tissue around there. You've got to just be so perfect in these events.
Chris, is he overposing? His muscles seem to be jittery a little bit.
Okay, you know what he's doing? He's overposing, hitting it too hard, and therefore shaking. He's rushing it. He's trying to get too many poses in. Better to do fewer poses, hit them hard, be poised, than try to squeeze in too many.
Once again, Barry DeMay was second a year ago to the United States, Bob Paris. And this year, if you go according to chalk, it would be DeMay against Christian. That seems to be the word around here. Those are the two. Look at this pose.
Here's a grab shot, as we say. A lot of muscularity.
Boy, you talk about definition.
See, when he flexes, it's very hard. When he's standing, semi-relaxed, as we say, he's not as hard as he could be.
Barry DeMay, second a year ago in the Mr. Universe contest, trying to capture the top spot.
I remember the girls really liked him. He was a good-looking guy, you know.
Guy, yeah.
Tall, wide shoulders.
Yeah, he's the one who called me the peanut butter king, you know.
Yeah, right.
Saw me eat an entire jar of peanut butter. He's like stunned. He'd never seen that.
Right.
He autographed picture later on, and he said, "To Jerry, the peanut butter king."
Yeah. I remember he was really, really disappointed that he lost to Mike Christian.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was obvious this guy was going to turn pro sooner or later, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, I remember Mike was really psyched up for this contest. You know, I remember seeing it on TV, and man, he was like, he was so psyched. He was so, like, his energy was crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And every time he was on stage, you know, he looked like he knew he was going to win, you know.
Oh, yeah, I remember talking to him at the contest. He was really up, you know. He was very enthusiastic.
His rear double bicep was unbelievable.
Great.
Yeah.
And he had a great twisting back shot, too. Like,
yeah, he could do that three-quarter back pose, yeah.
Very good shot.
And his shoulders and arms were amazing.
Great, absolutely.
Top of the show, Chris talked about his favorite in the heavyweight division. We've seen Barry DeMay, and now it's time to talk to another guy who's right up there, Mike Christian. Let's listen in.
And I suppose if the bookies favored anybody here in Vegas, it'd be Mike Christian.
All right.
You agree with him?
Yes, of course.
You sound very positive, Mike. And your confidence must come out of knowledge of your physique, how you respond to your training, your own methods of nutrition. Want to tell us about that a little bit?
Sure. Well, I've been training the last 10 years for in bodybuilding, and the last 10 weeks for this particular contest, training intense training. That's 6 days a week, hour and a half in the morning, an hour and a half in the evening. Dieting, very low calories, low fats, and medium carbohydrates. And as far as my training, I train very hard and very intense. And I more or less play with it. You know, if I don't feel like training real hard, if my body says, no, I can't push 500-pound bench press today, I won't do it, you know.
I've seen you train. You train like a demon. And the weights you handle, incredible. A typical week for you in your training. You've sort of described it, but how do you divide your body parts?
Okay, what I do is, for instance, Monday I'll come in, I'll do the push-pull program. Monday I'll come in, I'll do chest, shoulders, tricep, all pressing movements. The next day, Tuesday, I'll come in, I'll do back, biceps, all pulling movements. And the third day I come in, I'll just do legs, because legs are a big part of your body, and you need at least a day to do them correctly and properly.
That's it takes a lot of energy, legs.
Yes.
That's half your body.
Yeah, after I do them, I can't walk, especially the way I train.
And how about nutrition? Now, everybody's got, carbohydrates, some high, some low, high protein. What are your ideas on that? What works for you?
Yeah, what I do is I go on pretty much about 150 to 200 grams of protein for my body weight. I think that's what works for me. Carbohydrates, I go fairly medium to high. You need the carbohydrates to train for the energy. And I just watch my fats. The last 5-6 weeks for a show, I cut out milk, bread, and more or less all the starchy and dairy products.
Okay, now the big question, the honest question. What is your weakness, my Christian?
I have no weaknesses. None. Zero.
Now that's called high self-esteem. I guess you got to have that. You really must believe. Listen, Mike Christian came from a tough background. He has made it. It's not been easy.
He's overcome a great deal, and here he is in all of his muscular endowment. Incredible physique.
And look at him play to the crowd. He was the only one, the only one, Chris, at the weigh-in that played to the crowd. He understands the charisma part of it.
He loves it. He's a hand. He's a hand.
Mike Christian with a great upper body. The calves are going to be slim. We've talked about that. Genetically, it's going to be a problem. How do you build up the calves?
But he's improved 100% since last year on his calves. Genetically, it's a hard part for some people. High repetitions are very, very good. I believe in 25 to 30 repetitions per set. Not so much heavy, but just burn them. Get the blood in there.
This is a great routine he's got going.
Yep.
Love that. Mike Christian, will he be Mr. Universe? He's going to have to beat out Barry DeMay.
It's awesome. That sort of power, size.
Chris, what's Barry DeMay thinking right now?
He's probably not thinking anything and probably not even looking at him. He doesn't want to see him.
An excellent routine by Christian. That takes care of the individual stuff. Comparison poses. That's all coming up on ESPN. It's time for the comparison poses, and we'll get to the pose down. These are the best 6 in the world.
It's such an honor just to be among these men. When you think of all the heavyweights in the whole world.
Chris, the one we did not show because of time, Mark Hintz from Canada, is the 6th competitor. The 2 favorites, once again, DeMay and Christian.
I'd like to see them side by side.
All right, let's take a look at the side chest.
Yep.
DeMay is just huge.
They're very different. They're both tall, of course, but different weaknesses, different strengths. DeMay is, in a sense, maybe more even, but he lacks Christian's thickness.
Plus, look at the lower back right there.
Lower back,
the lower back.
That tells
I have to believe is going to hurt him.
That is probably.
You know, Chris, the assignment on stage is at random. It has nothing to do with where they're standing. You see Christian first, Erickson.
Oh, nothing to do with it at random. They're just standing.
It's just how they were assigned. Because that question came up early in the day, sitting around the lobby and talking about it.
It's going to be very interesting to see what the judges do. LeMay, remember, was 2nd last year. Christian was not even in it. This is Christian's first try at it. So he may have to wait till next year. We're going to see.
Bob Paris from the United States was a winner a year ago. DeMay was 2nd. Otler from Germany was 3rd. Janic from Austria was 4th. They are not involved this year. You know, Chris, last year the Americans won 3 out of the 5 classes. Of course, we had the bantamweight, the competition in Singapore, and once again, no bantamweight competition this year. But the United States has really dominated bodybuilding.
We really have the best nutrition. We know more, best training equipment.
There they go.
Night and day. Now, this is a fight to the finish. This is blood.
60-some countries here.
Going for the gold.
10 involved in the finals. Well,
he doesn't
says,
even
I'll get off to the side. This is fun.
Now, here's Christian and LeMay side by side.
Unlike the special teams in football, they don't take their helmets off once in a while and throw a few punches. They'll keep it clean, I guess. This is the pose down. This is the most fun for me because they really get after it. Well, who do you like?
Different positions. I'm not going to say.
Who do you like out there,
very,
folks?
very good.
Do you like DeMay? Do you like Christian? Do you like Erickson? Moose? I'm glad I'm sitting here just popping off instead of making a decision.
Doing the same poses there. Pose for pose. Both showing the backs.
I'm not sure if I'm DeMay I do that next to Christian. Because
not on the back, no.
Not the
back.
back.
Other poses, yes.
Oh,
if I were DeMay, I'd display my legs.
Look, great legs.
Yes.
Look at the upper body. But look at the back compared to Christian right there.
That's it. He's showing his weakness.
Well, the judges had a last look to make their selection. And who's it going to be?
It's going to be tough.
They don't want to leave the stage, do they?
No.
Well, I'll tell you, DeMay and Christian.
Sportsmanship again.
Right there. This is the 4th and final class. This is the heavyweight class. There's the 2nd place finisher last year, DeMay.
Wow, that's
right
exciting.
Next to Anus. They don't want to leave the stage.
This is when you don't want to hear your name. You want to hear your name, but not yet.
All right, but we're going to hear somebody's name. We're going to hear about the winners. So are you. Stick around. All of the action from Caesar's Palace right after this.
One of them must be 6th. And here is the 6th place goes to Canada, Mark Hintz.
So Mark Hintz picks up the 6th spot. I was kind of impressed with him. I think a little outclassed on this particular day, but there are other days.
Yes, Herb, in this group. Being 6th, he's happy being 6th.
Mark Hintz. All right, let's find out who's number 5.
In 5th place, receiving the Silver Jubilee Trophy from Austria, Alfred Neugebauer.
Neugebauer was 7th a year ago, so he moves up. Let's find out who the 4th place winner is.
In 1st place, from Sweden, Krista Eriksson.
You know, next year, Eriksson will be on his home boards because the contest will be in Sweden. He's got to like that.
He's looking forward to that, I'm sure. You're going to see a lot of progress in this next 12 months.
Did you see Christian get in the middle there?
Oh, yes. I told you he was a ham, didn't I?
Let's find out the 3rd guy. Christian.
That's great. In 3rd place, receiving the trophy as well as the bronze medal of these championships from Finland, Olev Fanos.
Wow. You'll hear more from this guy. Once again, perfected. All right, who's it going to be?
This is it, folks.
Oh, here we go.
And here are the last 2. They hug already before I announce who is 2nd and 1st. That's great sportsmanship. In 2nd place, winning the silver medal from Holland, Barry DeMay.
Boy, almost an apologetic announcement from Albert Buzak. And look at DeMay's face and look at Christian. It's a shame that somebody has to lose because it was so close,
Chris. It's absolutely true. It's very close. And they're both such great champions. It's too bad, as you say, one has to win, one has to settle for 2nd.
Mike Christian, the winner. Let's
Great
go back
winner.
and get it from Albert Buzak.
And here is our world champ in the heavyweight category, Mike Christian, USA.
Boy, that's what it's all about. Betty and Joe Weider raise the hand of the champion, Mike Christian.
If a smile on a face tells it all, that tells it all. Mr. Universe.
Mr. Universe.
Chris, I got to ask you, Mike Christian versus previous champions, does he stack up?
He more than stacks up, Irv. He's among the best ever. 5 years ago, you didn't see that kind of size and muscularity, that combination. It's unheard of.
All right, what's ahead for Barry DeMay? He has finished second 2 years in a row.
I predict Barry DeMay will come back even better and win the darn thing. He's got to.
I'll tell you one thing, these guys cannot just walk in and get a suit off the rack, and I include you too. Where do you guys get your clothes?
Well, you know, Verb, that's why we stay in sweat clothes. We have the world's worst wardrobe.
I don't believe that for a moment. That's what it's all about. Mr. Universe and our champion in the heavyweight classification is Mike Christian. It was tough. It was close. I would hate to be a judge.
It's
Barry
too bad.
DeMay.
It's too bad that one man has to be second. They're both so impressive.
Mike Christian, so happy. All of that hard work. You live on 300 calories. You sacrifice. It's all paid off here in Las Vegas, Nevada. For Mike Christian. He is Mr. Universe. 1984, the winner, and he's still posing.
Yep, can't stop. Told you he was a ham, didn't I? There he goes.
All right, Christian, the winner. He wins out over DeMay. Stick with us. We'll come back to Las Vegas, Nevada, right after this. Well, the competition is over, but the night isn't over, and Mike Christian has a chance to talk with Chris.
Mike Christian, Mr. Universe. How does it feel?
Fantastic.
You were confident from the very beginning. You must have known something.
That's true. I trained very hard all year for this. Well, all my life, really. But all year.
Did you think after seeing this that he was going to be a challenge to Lee Haney for the Olympia?
I thought so. Yeah. Lee has a little bit genetically better structure.
Yeah.
Than Mike. But I the way I looked at it, if Lee ever came in a little bit off, just like I said earlier, and Mike came in shredded and ripped, Mike could beat him. That's the way I looked at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mike was taller than Lee, right? He was like 6'1", 6'2", right? And Lee was 5'11".
Yeah, Mike was 6'1", right.
Yeah. But Mike just didn't have the calves, you know.
That's what I heard. If he had the calves, he could have, I'm sure, would have been Mr. Olympia for sure.
And his legs were long, but they were pretty big. They were pretty muscular.
Good, yeah, pretty good. Certainly not bad legs, just the calves were off.
Yeah, yeah.
Genetic thing, not much you could do about that, you know.
Right, right. And then Oli Vanis from Russia was third.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, those were the national level shows, AAU and NPC and IFBB for 1984.
Right.
All right, Jarrett. Well, I guess when we get together next time, we're going to talk about the professional competitions from 1984.
Okay.
And then before we leave, I want to mention your newsletter, Applied Metabolics.
That's right. Yeah, Applied Metabolics. I got some
$10 a month.
great stuff coming up in there. I mean, stuff that doesn't appear anywhere on the internet, anywhere. Trust me, great stuff. If I say so myself.
Okay.
Really, this is such a useful tool for anybody who wants in-depth information about nutrition, exercise. It's really good. Like, let's say you're a personal trainer.
Yeah.
A lot of tips that will help you with your clients or yourself personally, anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish more people knew about it because if I say so, I mean, I've looked at a lot of other sources of information, and I'm not saying they're bad, but these people just don't have my background, and they don't put in the level of work that I do.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I really put a lot of work into this stuff, this Applied Metabolics.
Yeah, I hope more people will apply to or subscribe to it, because for such a small amount, you know,
it's not. Yeah, I
huge newsletter every month.
Yeah, www.appliedmetabolics.com. And I also give a little extra service. In other words, if they subscribe and they want to send me like an email about something they might have read in Applied Metabolics or anything related to nutrition, exercise, I'll answer them. because as a kind of an appreciation of this subscription, it's kind of like a bonus,
Yeah.
So I do that, and I have a private Facebook page for subscribers of Applied Metabolics. Every single day I post new information on nutrition, exercise, and medicine on that private group.
Okay.
In fact, I'm thinking of doing something. I don't know. What do you think about this, John? I was going to do this a couple of years ago and completely forgot about it until recently. They used to have something called Facebook Live. I don't know if you've ever done that.
Yeah.
Where you could actually, I don't know, does that involve just voice or video? I'm not sure how
It's
it works.
video. Video, yeah.
I was thinking of doing that on the Applied Metabolics page for the people who are subscribers.
Yeah, you
maybe,
should.
Maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, so they could just hit me with questions. And I think it'd be fun to do that.
Yeah, they could ask the questions live while you're on there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try that and see what happens.
I think as long as you advertise it enough ahead of time and people are aware of it, yeah.
Oh, you absolutely have to do that.
And you do it at a good time, like maybe at night, when people are home. I think it'll definitely be good.
One time, the Body Fit Expo, which they're having later this month in LA.
Yeah.
The first year they asked me to do a nutrition seminar there, right? Now the first year I did it, they didn't advertise it. Nobody knew about it.
Right.
And I remember I show up. It was on a Sunday morning, if I remember correctly, and there's only one guy in the room. One guy. and I had to make, and he was a nice guy. I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
Should I take off and leave? Because this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I went up to him. I shook his hand. I said, "You know what? You're the only guy that showed up, so you're going to have a personal seminar." So as I'm talking, the people started to trickle in, and after a while,
yeah.
I'm glad I stayed because I was ready to leave.
Yeah.
But like about 25 people showed up. And lucky I waited, but
Yeah, I did a couple of seminars like that for the Fit Expo too, when they had them in the rooms.
Yeah, that's it. It was in
Yeah.
the room. Yeah. But I mean, there was one time I did it where the room was actually filled, and afterwards, the people kept me in the hallway for another 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Because the room was limited to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
54 minutes, they literally threw you out because somebody else.
Yeah.
So I continued in the hallway.
The part two.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy talking about that stuff, so it didn't bother me.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
All right, Jared. Well, thanks for joining us again on the Bodybuilding Legends Podcast. And when we get back together next time, like I said, we'll talk about the 1984 again, but we'll talk about all the professional contests, including, of course, the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, that would be really. That was Lean Haney's first, am I right?
First, yeah, and then that was the comeback of Sergio Oliva too.
Comeback of Sergio Oliva, which to me, that was the highlight of the contest for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's sad that he got 8th place, though.
I know.
Well, you show at the beginning of each show, you show him saying,
yeah. I'll forever be the myth. Yeah.
Yeah, which is true. I mean, he earned a 3-time Mr. Olympia. No matter what he placed, he still is in the the annals of bodybuilding history as one.
Still a legend. Still a legend to this day.
Yeah. And I still consider him. Again, I've said this before. I'll say it again. Even with all these giants today, to me, Sergio Oliva was the most genetically gifted bodybuilder in bodybuilding history.
Yeah, I agree.
More than any of these guys, So you got to give it to him.
Yeah.